Fuck this pessimistic nihilism. The world's ending. Nothing matters anymore. Finally! Haha! Oh man. Why is Chris Chan trending? What?
Look, I made you some content. Daddy made you your favorite open wide.
Alright, you know how this goes. This is my knockoff version of the seasonal recommendation stuff everyone else does. And anything that's not here is probably because reasons above. So, let's start with...
This is Earth Radio, and now here's human music.
Human music. I like it.
The internet's been surprising me lately, in a good way. Mike Rugnetta came back with a half-hour dive into the kind of small film details you'd expect from PBS's Idea Man. Hazel took a 45-minute look into the horny world of Mina Agachow and its many controversies, both real and imagined, from online communities and production companies. CJ the X made a 2.5-hour exploration of the personal and philosophical intersections of transhumanism, digital life, and capitalism, prompted by 2 songs from Bo Burnham's Inside with a total runtime of 105 seconds. And Noah Caldwell-Gervais dropped a 7.5-hour retrospective charting the mechanical and narrative development of the Resident Evil franchise over 25 years and 18 installments. Yeah, baby! But if you're like a normal person with things to do, I've also found some much shorter stuff to dig into. All the way from a French animated short film about a gay boy struggling to confess his feelings, to an animated music video about the convoluted ins and outs of textual intimacy, to some ads that honestly have no right to be as good as they are, like the Ghibli vibes of Dear Alice being boosted by its music from longtime Ghibli composer Joe Hisaishi, or Taco Bell just going full fucking anime bullshit for its new line of fries.
So, what's your story?
Guess I'm just hungry.
For what?
Hope.
Rubber Ninja spent a week in Final Fantasy XIV eating over 140,000 eggs. And while the original streams may not be available, his new video sums up the experience pretty well.
No! Please, God, no!
Hell, there's even a new Steamed Hams, but it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and yes, it is exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. I don't have any particularly profound point to make on any of these specifically, but they've all been little reminders for me of how much creativity there is online. As easy as it is to be cynical about the internet for fair reasons, there's still so much thoughtful and passionate stuff fighting to get noticed. And what I've recommended here is just a fraction of what's out there. Just make sure to keep an eye out. You never know what you might find. The Suicide Squad is a standalone sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad that follows its titular task force into a South American island nation to destroy a secret laboratory before it's too late, and chaos ensues. It's just a fun movie. There's so much explosive action, creative shots, actual color, and some good jokes about how fucking weird superheroes really are. Not to be too mean to the first one, because I know there's a lot of drama with its production, but this movie almost feels like the film The Bohemian Rhapsody trailer for the old one was promising. But what really got me were its characters. There's so many of them, yet they all get just enough time to show what they're all about, and the ones that, spoilers, live long enough to be fleshed out have great dynamics, whether friendly or spiteful, that define the film. They got plenty of time to grow in its more grounded moments. I find it hard not to find something to like about them all, whether it be Peacekeeper's paradoxical idealism, Bloodsport's grumbling old man energy, everything the Polka Dot Man needs to see a therapist about, the Ratcatcher's drowsy optimism, Harley Quinn being herself, and King Shark. God, just look at him. Look at his size, his shape, his hand. God, he's so good. For as over-the-top a movie as it is, there's something about its characters and their relationships that just feels genuine. The Suicide Squad is an ensemble movie that really knows how to use its unreasonably large cast. And speaking of villains, Loki is a sci-fi series about, well, you know, who finds himself face to face with the TVA, a mysterious organization working to keep its timeline in check, with his only hope for survival being to help capture an alternate version of himself causing chaos across time. only to find that things are not all they seem. And I just can't help but adore this show. Something about the tedium of the TVA wrapped up in these grand concrete halls with orange highlights stretching into infinity. Something about the conversations about free will and the dread underlining them. Something about a time travel series showing the end of time, popping onto a dying world far, far away, or representing the medieval world through a fucking 80s Ren fair. It all just kinda clicks for me. But most of all, I love Loki's journey through it. To take such a well-established villain who's prided himself on his cruelty and knock him down a peg just before his point of no return, to see if what little humanity he had left could be salvaged is fascinating to watch this character and the show itself work through. And Tom Hiddleston does a great job portraying the kind of ego-destroying turmoil this Loki is caught in. Of course, I do also think a big part of my enjoyment here is influenced by my mixed feelings with Marvel's other Phase 4 shows, and what feels like the half measures they took to step around the bolder creative choices their narrative seem to be leading to, while Loki just kinda runs with it. It's a fun character study that I think is one of the MCU's strongest shows so far. But sometimes you just want to see a villain be villainous, and for me, Fear Street's got that covered. Loosely based on the novels of the same name, Fear Street is set in Shadyside, a working-class town notorious for its serial killers and murderers, as it follows the various victims and survivors of these killings through their respective attempts to break the curse hunting them down. And it's the most B-movie thing I've watched in a while. Nearly every element is gratuitous, especially when it comes to the gore-soaked kills and bullshit teenage melodrama, and there's a tangible admiration for the slasher genre I can feel throughout all three films, as it pays homage to the classic settings and larger-than-life horrors that define it, and plays with the tropes they built. Granted, some of those tropes are admittedly low bars to get over, but still. Even when it starts to work in some solid, if simplified, social commentary on the exploitation of the working class and religious persecution, it's all still filtered through this lens of over-the-top horror. It knows exactly what it is, and while it is trying to do a lot with what it has, it isn't pretending to be anything but that. A schlocky slasher series. And I would recommend watching it as a series because with how closely each one follows on from the last, it's clear that they were built to be seen one after the other. Also, as a side note, everyone says the second one's the best, but I thought it was just fine. I think the first one's the most solid of the three. Am I missing something here? Put simply, it's a gore-soaked love letter to the slasher genre. I am not okay. I've wanted to get into Tatsuki Fujimoto's works for a while now, and as much as I like what I've read of Chainsaw Man, I'm struggling to actually get through it because I'm the kind of weirdo that likes to read physical copies of manga, and every time I go to order it, it's fucking sold out, and I just, for fuck's sake, could you stop being so popular for 5 minutes? So I settled for his free-to-read one-shot Look Back. It's about a middle schooler called Fujino with a comic strip in her school's newspaper who starts to doubt her artistic abilities when another strip by a shy shut-in called Kiyomoto is added alongside hers, and the comparisons flood in. I love the sketchy look of its art and the way it gives so much life to its expressions, landscapes, and unnecessary minor details. I mean, the fucker went to the trouble of drawing a pencil line with several layers of hatching, like holy fuck. And its main duo are not only deeply relatable, particularly for anyone with similar artistic or social insecurities, but also develop this heartwarming friendship as they pursue their dreams of making manga, and support each other through their respective issues. For a while, it's this lovingly rendered story about friendship and art and what drives our creativity, until it suddenly isn't. It's hard to talk about this manga without completely spoiling it, and I do think it's best read without knowing much. But what I will say is that halfway through, it takes a left turn. Its question about what drives an artist takes on a grimmer tone, no longer being something asked in awe, but out of desperation. When faced with the unimaginable, what can anyone do to keep going? It's a heavy read, and admittedly it's not one without criticism, particularly in the stereotype it ends up falling into when depicting said event, but it still cuts deep. It's a story that's both heartwarming and heartbreaking. Hi. Can't believe I'm using this bit again. Rebuild of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time is hard to talk about. I could say that about the entirety of Rebuild of Evangelion, or even Evangelion as a whole, honestly. But I think most people are most concerned with one simple question. Is it good? Define good. Define cohesive. Look, the rebuild movies are messy. They start as a condensed retelling of the original series that makes slight alterations before diving off the deep end. I think they generally do a great job of updating the series with modern aesthetics and workflows, and I do like how they flesh out relationships from the old series that didn't quite get enough screen time. Karu's the best, fuck you, fight me! And visually, they are fucking spectacular. Like, where do I even begin trying to describe the scene where a military patchwork Unit 02 jumps off the floating Whale Angel spear ship into the red glowing abyss of a singularity aiming for the floating inverted pyramid where Nerva organizing the apocalypse while her Neko Pixie Dream Girl assistant in a Cacturol mech shoots her a Gatling gun so she can blast all the skull-headed angel bots out of the sky before they stop her from stopping their boss and... oh, fuck, I think I'm having an aneurysm. That said, calling it story all over the place would be an understatement. To be fair, Evangelion's always had this issue as it struggles to balance its metaphor about broken people trying to become better with its dense world of child soldiers and extraterrestrial catastrophes. But it's something that's become even more obvious in the Rebuild series, as it tries in vain to tie those technical and thematic details together cleanly. But at a certain point it just sort of stops trying and leans entirely into emotional logic. And through it gives its characters what they need to finally move on, from their pain, from this world, and from this franchise. And there's something about that I just can't help but appreciate. Thrice Upon a Time is not only a final send-off to the Rebuild series, but to Evangelion as a whole. Speaking of anime movies, I watched a bunch of Ghibli ones, and I think they're all worth a watch. Even the ones I'm not the biggest fans of, which are still pretty damn solid. They've all got their own flavour of that stubborn optimism that Ghibli's so well known for, and it's interesting, when watching through them all, to see the threads of influence they've had not only on anime as a whole, but on each other, with the way they try to build on what came before, only to be outdone by what comes next, and so on. Of course, trying to watch all of them is a lot, so to get more specific, if you're a fan of epic fantasies featuring pacifistic heroes all about protecting the environment, I'd recommend Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind and Princess Mononoke. If you're looking for a kid-friendly adventure with a world of whimsical creatures you might find in your own backyard, I'd recommend My Neighbor Totoro and Ponyo. If you're interested in metaphors for the artistic process that center around the struggles of pursuing a creative career in the modern world, I'd recommend Kiki's Delivery Service and Whisper of the Heart. If you want a chill experience that likes to play with its approach to storytelling and animation, I'd recommend Only Yesterday and My Neighbor's Diomedes. Or if you want to just be absolutely destroyed by a slow burn gut punch of emotion that sneaks up on you, I'd recommend The Tale of Princess Kaguya. While with all the family drama and the parents doing their best but not understanding and the girl looking forward losing what she loves and like, fuck man, I need some dumb to take my mind off this before I end up in the corner again. Oh, a Chinese animation? About time travel shenanigans? Full of cute boys and girls? Well, that ought to... Link Click is an animated series about a pair of friends, Cheng Xiaoxi and Lu Guang, using their time travel powers to make a living, being paid to dive back into the past for anything from uncovering corporate secrets to saying things that were left unsaid. And no, I didn't watch it because of the Gigguk video. It was because of the Scamboli Reviews one. And they're right to be praising the show. It's genuinely that good. The art designs are great, the OP is amazing, and the thematic through-line of struggling to maintain the past, no matter how bad it was for the sake of a better future, is both awe-inspiring and soul-crushing. But fuck all that meaningful bullshit, I'm all in for the time travel mechanics, baby! See, their powers work through photos. Lu can use them to see into the past, and Cheng, with a high five or a clap, can dive into the body of the person who took said photo for up to 12 hours, making Lu the cool-headed eye in the sky, leading Chen through the path needed to maintain their timeline while still fulfilling their client's request. And Cheng the wild card, his stubborn personality and awareness of the past combining with how he feels the emotions of the people he dives into in a way that leads to a lot of close calls that genuinely left me on edge, all made even more intense by the fact that they can only dive into the past once per photo. And it only gets more convoluted as it goes on, and explores the weirder details of these powers, from what had happened if they dived into a CCTV photo to the paradoxes their presence in the past causes. It's just a fun and fascinating dynamic to watch play out, and with the confirmation of a second season, I can't wait to see it developed further in the future. But it's not the only boundary-pushing animated series I've watched recently, since Centaur World... Wait, no, let me explain! Look, I didn't think it'd be much to write home about either, but more people need to give it a chance. It follows a warhorse from a devastated land who, after a surprise ambush, is thrown into a cartoony world full of colourful centaur creatures with the collective intelligence of a goldfish, and must find a way home before it's too late. Also, it's a musical.
Who is she? She is strong, but she hides her fears inside.
The characters are all chaotic goofballs with great chemistry, particularly in the intense contrast between Horse's war-hardened mindset and the sheltered naivety of her cartoon comrades. Their misadventures across this uncomfortably colourful landscape are both touching and terrifying, and most of all, its animation is fucking amazing. I feel like Rig 2D has a bad rap, but not for unfair reasons, but it's come a long way, especially in the last decade, and that much is clear to see with the amount of shows that are able to push it to its extreme, and Centaur World is no different. There's so many bold and striking shots, whether it be something as small as an awkward angle, or as ambitious as a grand sweeping camera shot that, even with what little I do know of the process, I can only imagine being an absolute fucking nightmare to set up. And yet are pulled off with such style and grace, and holy fuck! It's just a goofy show with a lot of heart and passion that I think needs a lot more attention. And yeah, those are my thoughts. It's been a while since my last video. I did explain what happened in the community post a while ago, but for anyone who missed it, essentially I lost my creative drive for the video I was going to make after the finale for the series I was going to cover came out. It was going to be a video on Wonder Egg Priority, by the way. And I ended up being really busy with a lot of things last month, so even if I had found something else, I just don't think I would have had the time to actually get it done. So, just kind of took a month off, really. I will say though, it did give me a lot of time to think about my videos with what I'm making and how I'm making them, and about how I might / probably should change things, if for nothing else than my own sanity. Granted, it probably won't be till next year that I make any major changes, because for the next few months I just kind of want to test things and see how I feel before diving in, and I will talk more about it later on, but still. Anyway, hope yours are staying safe, keeping your distance, wearing a mask, washing your hands, getting vaccinated if you can, and let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, why your top things of the season have been, why you're looking forward to in the next few months, etc. And thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this and want to see more, then check out my last video, where I talk about my fascination with Studio Ghibli's love for nature. Or watch me ramble about my top things of spring 2021. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to come fly with me. Hit the bell to stay notified, follow me on Twitter for more updates, ramblings, and poor attempts at humor, follow me on Instagram for semi-regular art stuff, and hopefully, I'll see you later.